knows? It must be Christmas because I am wearing this horrible green shirt. Thank you all for coming. Unfortunately, we are the Divorced Men's Reading Group. That's not the thing that's unfortunate, but unfortunately, same as last year, none of us will be spending time with our children this Christmas, and our cases continue through the family court. But we are thankful for the fact that we have each other, and of course the power of female erotica. And so what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, this is, I think, our fourth public performance. We're each going to read an erotic Christmas story, accompanied by music, and then you, the audience, will vote for your favourite story, the most erotic reading at the end. Without further ado, please welcome our first reader, my buddy, Levon Polinelli.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house no one was stirring. That was great eggnog earlier, was the thought that went through my head as I lay all snuggled up in bed. I heard a great clatter, sounded like someone had knocked over the tree. But how could that be? No one was here but me. Jumping out of bed, forgotten was the thought that all I wore was a sexy red silk nightie in honour of it being Christmas Eve. I ran down the stairs to see what was the matter. Before my eyes, there stood Santa, with a bag of goodies for us good girls and boys. Only I thought he was at the wrong house. I hadn't been a very good girl this year. Santa let out a chuckle, no hardy ho-ho. He dropped to his knees and his eyes started twinkling. He still held out his hands, but now somehow the gesture had turned sexual. He came towards me, still on his knees. "Give Santa a kiss," he whispered. We kissed slowly and deeply. Soon the kisses grow deeper, mouths open, tongues doing an erotic dance with the other as we explore each other's mouths, hungry for each other. A finger slides into me. Santa strokes against my clit in time to the squeezing of my breath and the feel of his lips. Reaching between his thighs, I take him in hand, and holding his cock, I rub it against my face. I flick out my tongue to capture his cock, and then slip it into my mouth and gently suck the head. I hold him there, rolling my tongue around the head, slowly drawing him into my mouth. Then he thrusts into me, working up a rhythm, fucking my mouth with his wicked fat cock. I'd yell if I could. Santa's thrusts come rapidly now, each thrust pushing him deeper into my mouth. His body is covered in sweat. Finally, I feel the muscles clench in his ass, and his sperm fills my mouth, triggering my own unexpected orgasm. "See you in the morning, Santa, after you finish your rounds," I whisper in his ear.
Levon. Fantastic, great start there. Keep that applause going for our second reader, Mr. Brad Hearn.
'Twas the night before Christmas. You pranced through the house, your breasts bouncing freely in a lovely sheer blouse. Her stockings were white. Her stockings of white lace, you chose them with care, and a tiny black skirt with no underwear. Your eyes, how they twinkled, your dimples, how merry, your cunt lips like roses. Your clit like a cherry. Your droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, waiting to give my hard cock a good blow. The length of my rod you expressed with your teeth. Then your lips encircled my head like a wreath. Then I rolled you over and onto your belly, and lubed you up good with our scented jelly. Your cunt lips were blunt, my sweet little elf, and I could no longer keep holding myself. I winked with my eye, and I thrust in my head, and pounded you hard as you lay on my bed. I spoke not a word, but went straight to my work, and filled you with semen with each muddy jerk. And I placed the vibrator on the spot where it goes, and your orgasm spread from your head to your toes. I loved it so greatly, I gave a big whistle, still keeping you filled with my giant hard missile. And then we both shouted with all of our might, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Thank you, Brad Hearn, and please welcome our third reader, Jeff Hewitt. Because of what I saw Christmas morning, now every time I hear, I saw Mummy kissing Santa Claus, I substitute Daddy for Mummy and blowing for kissing. That song has new meaning for me after I saw my dad blowing Santa Claus. I never had a close relationship with my dad. I was a disappointment to him, maybe because I wasn't much of an athlete and never participated in team sports. A man's man, my dad was an ex-Marine, and he has the tattoos to prove it. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I told my dad I was gay at my college graduation. He knew just what to say that would hurt me the most. You're a fag? I raised a fag? You suck cock? You take it up the ass? You little cock-sucking queer, he said, giving me a look that hurt me as much as his words. I want nothing more to do with you, Robert. You're no son of mine, he said, storming off the campus, getting in his car and driving away. I found out some months later that he was arrested that day for DUI again and thrown in jail. Years later, after Mum had died, I invited Dad to stay over on Christmas Eve. Of course, I was concerned how my dad would react to being in a room with a dozen gay guys, not counting my boyfriend Jim and me. To my delight, Jim had arranged for a surprise. He hired a friend, a gay friend of course, an older, obese gentleman to play Santa Claus. It was great. This guy really looked like Santa Claus. My dad and Santa hit it off and became best pals when they discovered that they had both been Vietnam Marine Corps vets around the same time. They talked late into the night about their experiences in the jungle in Saigon, Da Nang, Hanoi, and Cambodia, and other places where Tien Tran used to live. Thank God I got a fucking laugh, okay. I went to bed. Later that night, I was awoken by the sound of bells coming from downstairs. Acting as if I was a kid hoping to catch Santa Claus delivering presents and arranging them beneath the tree, I crept out of my room. There from the landing, I saw my dad on his knees, in between Santa's legs, blowing him. I couldn't believe my dad had Santa's cock in his mouth and was sucking off Santa. I couldn't stop myself from staring and tugging at my shorts. Watching my dad blow Santa was just as exciting as it was disturbing. I mean, I knew Santa was gay, but I didn't know my dad was too. I had no idea. Like father, like son, I guess. And when I saw Dad giving Santa a rim job and stroking his cock at the same time, a sex act known in the gay community as a rusty trombone, I knew it was a Christmas miracle. Thank you. Please welcome our final reader, Mr. Jared Maroney.
Yeah. The real story of Mrs. Claus and the elves. I want the elves to shut up. To slowly strip me naked while French kissing me and filling me through my clothes, Miss Claus said, whispering her sexual desire for the elves in Santa's ear again. I want the elves to tie me to my bed and have their wicked sexual ways with my naked body. I want to be fucked by a small little army of men. Santa, I want cocks. Saint Nick, lust has consumed me, the forest of forest fire, consuming a pine forest. I'm horny. Nick, I'm aflame with lustful desire and sexual passion. I'm coming in my pussy. I want the elves to come in my mouth. When Santa tried moving away from her, she pulled her closer by a yank of his long white beard to stare in his beady blue eyes. Then, still not done with me, I want a dozen elves to give me a dozen cum puffs. With cum all over my face, my hair and my tits. I want to be awash in elven cum. Mary, Santa stood while pushing his wife from his lap. He watched her fall to the floor, as if she was sick laden with toys. "Oh, Santa, that hurt," she said, rubbing her ass in the way that he imagined the elves rubbing her ass. Admittedly, through her X-rated wish to have sex with the elves did excite Santa in a sexual way, and he felt his pole erecting by the naughty thoughts of his elves seeing his wife naked and fucking his wife from behind while she sucked their cocks and gave her a cum bath. Wow, he never thought he'd think of Miss Santa, elves and cum bath in one sentence. And so that night, towards the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring except for the elves. With stockings hung by the chimney in hopes that St. Nick would be there soon instead, Santa watched his wife gang-banged in his bed by 12 elves with room to spare. Masturbating, masturbating, and masturbating. Santa watched his wife being gang-banged while masturbating himself. Licking her pussy and banging his wife, she had a great Christmas with 12 horny elves. Adam, Abraham, Bartholomew, Charlie, Daniel, Frank, George, Henry, Mark, Paul, Ralph, Tom, and Walter, stripped naked and climbing over. Shut up, Jeff. While they licked, sucked, and banged her. Merry Christmas to all and a good.
A round of applause to Jeff Hewitt. And finally, Jeff Maroney. I think you'll have to be Brad Hearn, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas. Good night.
I'm afraid to touch anything. It's also fucking dirty. Once again, Shapiro Tuesdays is an experimental comedy evening. I told you were going to have periods tonight where you were like, what the fuck is happening right now? I had a couple of myself just then. I don't really want to touch it.